pick up some Colossus myself.
I'm gonna be like, I'm not sure if I want a ladder, Roddy. I have to play versus so many Colossi dropping
I just know whenever I do those things, I always lose my Warp Prisms and the Colossus at the same time.
Well, their Colossus drop will find my 3-factory Hellion tank all. But we're loading in now to King Sejong Station for map number 3 of this best of 5. San said he wanted to finish it fast. Can he do it here? He is our blue Protoss representing Yowie Flash Wolves in the top left.
It's been a long time since this Red Terran player has won a tournament, but he did win a GSL Code S once upon a time. That was November 2011. He would love to do something similar, but he has to win a lot of maps to do so. It is jjakji.
San did say he was going to end this one fast.
Yeah, no.
He's you know, like, we look at all the series we've had today. He could have a 30-minute game, and this would still be the shortest series of the day.
Yes, King Sejong Station is a map where, you know, we can definitely see it drawn out PvT, but it's also a map that's really popular for SCV pools, and I wouldn't be too shocked if jjakji would just try to do something like that. Of course, this is one of those series where you're playing a best of 5, and then you're expecting, you know, long drawn out back and forth games. You're expecting a lot of mind games. This is a series where jjakji not once has been comfortable. Game number 1, he gets contained by a ridiculous amount of Link Stalkers on one base and a few sentries against a Proxy Stargate. And then game number 2, you face a Colossus drop followed up by a Colossus all-in. And it feels like you haven't even started your best of 5 yet and you're down 0-2.
Yeah, and I like how we're seeing it's Command Center first again from jjakji. This probe can come in and be annoying. The probe scout always a great choice, especially when your opponent does this. And he's going to Engineering Bay block.
Okay.
Nope, I can kind of get behind this, but you still haven't started your barracks yet, so the mules aren't coming anytime soon.
So he also sent down 2 SCVs to the low ground immediately. One SCV is very low on HP. This probe is a true believer.
Okay.
It feels so good to kill an SCV early on, Nate. That's really much like winning the game.
I've left. I won't lie. I've left a game before after losing an SCV to that. There's a few things is frustrating.
It's not just the money you lose; it's the mental battle. You know, like,
all morale is lost.
Exactly.
Well, this will be frustrating as he comes down. Now he can finish the Zealot, so that'll help him chew it away.
But he doesn't have.
Don't believe he canceled it.
No, he has a Zealot. Yeah, you're right. So this shouldn't be too bad for San. It's a little bit frustrating. Actually, San is like, hey, if you drop an eBay as well, that means that your Marines are going to be very late.
Yeah.
I'm just going to run across the map with a Zealot, a Stalker, and a Mothership Core.
That's not a bad idea at all.
No, I can definitely get behind that. Of course, he doesn't have the gas yet for a Stalker.
There's no way he'll have a bunker up because he still needs to start his orbital commands.
Changes his mind. I kind of would have. I would have been very curious to see how that would have worked out because it
could have been cool. I think he's like, I really don't want to risk that economy. I'd rather just proxy something here.
Okay, now is he then still going to expand though? If he actually wants to proxy something?
Well,
maybe we'll see some Void Rays, Nate, for the good old days. For the believers, for the true fans of Protoss.
After the builds,
he's not going to expand. Or
after
maybe
the builds we've seen today, Kev, I would not be surprised. In fact, I feel like I don't know if I can be surprised anymore.
What if it's Oracle into Tempest, Nate? Do you believe?
You know, I would normally scoff at your insane comment, Roddy, but it's becoming a thing on this map.
I know. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, the next
I kind of want to see it now.
The Nexus is going down. It's pretty hard to do it off the back of an expand as well, because obviously Tempests are pretty expensive units. But I've seen it indeed on multiple Korean streams these days as well, especially on King Sejong Station.
It's important to keep in mind that everything is still really delayed by normal standards. There's still no gas for jjakji, so I mean, it could be doable. No. I don't think he's that crazy though. No, I think an Oracle makes sense. Tempest like this, that's asking for a lot. This Mothership Core is annoying though.
But a man can dream, Nick.
Man can dream.
Nah, most likely not, like you said, especially after the Nexus went down as well. It's hard to pull it off. Otherwise, it would have been possible. It would have still been a little bit late, but theoretically, he could have made it work. But now we see the robotics facility going down in the main base as well. I'm a little bit skeptical of the fact that did he really need to proxy this Stargate? I guess you could say after the Oracle's out, he doesn't really plan on using it anymore anyway, but I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of stuff like that.
Yeah, and jjakji already kind of feels something weird's going on. He already built missile turrets, so Oracles really shouldn't be able to accomplish too much. Now, that's not to say, though, that it won't still be an asset, because he made great use of the Revelation on Foxtrot, and it doesn't have to be a one base contained, but if you know where the Terran army is, you still have that same problem of how do you move out at all.
I totally agree. It's definitely not the end of the world, and Oracle still serve their purpose. They can still pick off an SCV that's building another command center later on, or is building a barracks or a factory, just be annoying. But nobody ever hopes for 0 kills on your Oracle. You always hope to pick up at least 2 or 3.
Oracles are ambitious creatures.
Yeah. Yes, they are. They have dreams too, and they believe that they can at least pick off an SCV or 2 whenever they spawn on any given circumstance, no matter how many missile turrets are out there. So the fact that he got 0 work done, and let's not forget, it's a proxy Stargate, that has to sting a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the potential to lose it does be something that will always be looming here. The Oracle's built up quite a bit of energy. I wouldn't be surprised if he tagged that army at some point just to keep his eyes on it. Factory's going to finish up soonish. Medevacs won't be out crazy fast. You know, we kind of talked about the way that this build order panned out to start. Now delaying this, that's nice.
Okay, see? Eventually he does find a small opening, picks up the SCV that's building the factory, even if it's just for a few seconds. jjakji threw down a scan in the main base, as it seems, and he saw most of the important buildings, as he saw the Robo Facility and the Robo Bay going down. Now Twilight Console and Forge going down as well. I feel this is one of those builds where as a Terran, you shouldn't play with too much fear. Like, I would love to see jjakji just kind of try to really push the issue here and look for an opening, because Sun is doing so many things at once that he can't possibly have a lot of units all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, the Oracle's trying to keep some of these forces at home, but this little poke as Stim comes close to completion.
Colossus is only halfway done. If he forces out even just a Photon Overcharge here, that's already a good start. But I wouldn't even mind if he starts trading out some units and maybe gets a few probes.
Yeah, I mean, there's such little damage output. You almost, you know, some players be brave enough to just stim right and just focus down probes and trade out the Marines. But that's also a bit brave.
But I still like it, because now the Mothership Core has 100 energy less, and that means when jjakji has access to his Medevacs, there won't be double Photon Overcharge. The Oracle is still trying to get some work done.
Got a fresh mule too, not bad at all.
It was very fresh, it was full HP.
I mean, the thing was like, some of the wrapping was still on it.
No pain damage on that one.
Blink and +1 armor are the follow-ups. I mean, always good to have an early blink, especially on this map. I mean, I guess, of course, when you're going into Colossus, you want to have the Stalker's mobility ready to block Vikings from hitting. Look at this, even just delaying these supply depots, which is it's quite frustrating to deal with. It's like, oh, you're going to send 2 or 3 Marines at a time? Well, I can kill these. Wow. Not really worried about those.
I really love how patient Protoss players have become in general with their Oracles, because we all remember the old days, like, oh, there's a missile turret, well, still, just try to kill 4 SCVs, and then you lose your Oracle, and then you just kind of let it go.
Well, you know, we talked about how San's like, well, this Oracle didn't really accomplish much at the start, but he's made it effective so far. Like, it's been really good for him, because you don't need to worry about squeezing an observer or anything into the Terran base when you're kind of flying through it every 5 seconds.
Yep. Kind of a questionable scan there by jjakji, as he saw the exact same thing as he saw before. Perhaps just trying to figure out where Sun has positioned his units, but his own units are still so far away from the Protoss base that I guess you could say you don't really want to scan right before you drop, because it kind of gives it away in general. It's like, alright, no Stalkers here, let's fly in with my Medevacs, but still kind of a weird moment to scout.
Yeah, there's a couple of forces on the right side. I mean, at this point, as a Terran player, you want to establish that third base, since his third orbital is finishing up, and you want to delay, deny, destroy that Protoss third base. Yeah, exactly.
A little bit of both, Nate. Just make up the new word, and I'm rolling with it.
The longer you keep the Protoss off the third, the better you're feeling for that eventual potential SCV pull. But I think that's the reason why San is focusing so heavily on his Colossus production. He's on his way to number 4 right now.
Okay, Blink is ready. The Colossus are out of position though, so jjakji will force out another Photon Overcharge to the main base. San immediately starts working on the Medevac. Doesn't kill it yet though, so jjakji actually gets the Forge, but he will lose a Medevac full of units.
That was a great pickup there. I mean, you trade out I mean, it was pretty much. Kind of sucks that you lose the Forge, but he's just going to build 2 now, and he has the Twilight Council, so getting his upgrades together won't be too difficult. This Oracle almost got that kill. Came back to finish the job.
The Medevacs on the right side of the map actually just spotted that Stargate for the first time in this game, so that's something that he could take care of eventually. But of course, on this moment, Sun is not super worried about that Stargate. Will most likely not use it anymore. He has access to observers, he's getting both Forges, he has a Twilight Console and a Robotics Bay already, so there are other things for him to worry about. Cannon should probably start focusing on the Medevac. A couple of these bio units were low on HP.
Oh, close.
Got a Photon Overcharge for that drop, not bad at all.
Yeah. He's trading out that Mothership Core energy because he still really wants to get that third base, but I mean, this army is not, like, you scan that, you're like, well, number of Colossi, it's not a very inviting army to walk just 2 medevacs worth of units into.
But with all the small trades that he has done, I really feel that jjakji is setting himself up for a very explosive minute or two now, where he just desperately tries to find an opening wherever he can, whether it's at the third or the natural or the main, and after that followed up with perhaps an SCV pool, because why not? The second starport is going down as well, so that will give him the...
I'm a little worried though. Like, I don't think, and I'm not like worried in the sense of like he can't win the game, but I don't think an SCV pool, like the way that San has played this out, and especially considering that there's still medevacs being made by jjakji, you're not in a position to go for an SCV pool into like 5. What is he on now? He's building number 6 or number 5 Colossi. Like he's really getting a crazy number of them out.
Well, here we go. This is pretty much the moment that jjakji has been building up towards. Forced out a lot of photon overcharges. He's coming with 2 medevacs on the right top side of the map, and he's going to try to fly into the main with 3. But it feels like San has positioned his army pretty well. There is a Colossus in the main. There are Blink Stalkers in the main. There's almost another photon overcharge in the main as well. Not yet, but it will be there soon. And he has plenty of units on the right top side of the map. So it actually seems that jjakji, even though he's trying, he just can't find an opening.
Nope. And what? Yeah, exactly. He's onto the 6 Colossi out on the map. The +2 armor is about to finish up. He's going into Immortals too, which are I actually love when you get that Colossi count high enough. You just smash down Marauders, and he's making the switch into Storm at the same time. Brilliant.
Yeah, San is surprisingly rich, because that third base wasn't even that quick. It was up and running around 12 minutes or something, so it's not like he really rushed into it. But overall, it just seems like he has bought enough time for himself, and surprisingly enough, never really took any damage from all these potential drops. Because jjakji is looking, he's hunting, he's trying to find an opening, he's trying to spread the pros player thin. But it seems like San just has the right amount of units at the right time.
Yes, and now he also has to worry about, you look at how much energy these medevacs have, and suddenly those feedbacks become a really big threat. If you dip in and you're not even willing to unload, you could still lose your medevacs and all your units pretty damn fast.
You know, I love me some feedbacks, Nate.
Yeah, some juicy feedbacks, Roddy.
Personal cloaking being researched as well, but okay, the 4th command center is going down too, so jjakji is indeed not going to try to SCV pool. Of course, you don't really want to pull your SCVs anymore when Storm is out there as well. Now, Ghost Viking is definitely incredibly strong, and is definitely capable of dealing with High Templars and Colossus as well. And I've seen San take some pretty bad fights in the past. He's definitely not the ultimate pros king of very late game engagements either, but I do still kind of favor San in this position. Soon he can actually start harassing. He can start sending out a Warp Prism or 2 if he wants to.
Yeah, jjakji's still looking for somewhere to drop. He's still looking for somewhere to get an opening. That Oracle finally dies.
Man, it's absolute feedback heaven. There are 3 medevacs that are just full on energy flying into the main base. And there are High Templars over here. There we go. Feedback heaven it is, Nate. That's 25 supply for you.
My Terran heart can't handle that. Oh god, that was awful.
Are you okay, Nate? Do you need a glass of water, mate?
Yes, please. Well, the Colossi are moving up. The Viking count really isn't that impressive. The Templar are going to lead the charge. And he really just needs 1 or 2 storms. And if he clips those Vikings with the storms, then it's even better. Oh, trying to bait out the
Widowmine as well, yeah. Oh, that really hurt for jjakji. Losing 25 supply like that, just really not getting anything done. Lost 11 SCVs now as well, but this is a phase in the game where losing a few SCVs is definitely not the end of the world for jjakji. He still has 59 to work with. He has triple orbital command, so he should be alright. He definitely, whenever he takes a fight, he needs an overwhelming amount of Vikings. He has 13 now, he's having 4 more in production. 17 Vikings against 6 Colossus. Yeah, that's pretty alright, but I wouldn't even mind to see 20. Ooh.
Oh, these nice flanking Templar actually soften up a good amount of this army.
Doesn't kill anything though, so if I was jjakji now, I'd just sit back and heal up.
He needs to watch this. He should sit back and heal up. If he goes into tax with an army this weekend, because he'd need to stim again as well, so a lot lot of those already low hit point units.
It's so hard to run up that ramp. Oh, personal cloak, but there are cannons there as well. Very well done by San. Because when there are this many Vikings on the map, it's very hard to keep your observers alive as a Protoss player. So having a couple of cannons to have sort of like a safety ground to fall back on is extremely smart, and I really like it.
Yeah, the ghosts are going to run up. He's looking for some snipes, some EMPs.
Spots the observer.
Yeah, there's the observer, and he will get it. So these ghosts have a little bit of rain. Are there any more observers on the map?
There's one more coming very close. Actually, 3 more. Ooh, that High Templar could have wreaked some havoc on that army or unleashed some havoc, but doesn't do it. There are a few more. One observer is with his army now, and the other one is not too far away. So San doesn't have anything to be too worried about. jjakji is very worried about the Warp Prism, that's for sure.
Yeah. If you're the Protoss player, I mean, you've got your 4th base. You're on even bases with the Terran. You can't be too upset with this. Although the Terran army is getting stronger now because those upgrades are going to finish.
I mean, the Terran army is indeed getting a lot stronger.
And you're going to have the mules too, so he'll be able to get a higher army supply than normal.
But look at the bank as well. Now, Sun has way more money in the bank than jjakji currently has, and I think that will stay for a while. I like this position, but I am indeed afraid of that one fight that goes so terrible that you just lose everything at once. Because, yeah, if Terran has like a solid 30-40 army supply lead when they finally fight, Terran only has one shot to win the game. But sometimes they do, you know, capitalize on that one opportunity where they have crazy amounts of EMPs, scans, and Vikings available. Because in the end of the day, this comes down to a dance between the High Templars and Ghosts and the Vikings and the Colossus. That will just determine the outcome of this battle.
I like the little DT harass by Sam, but I believe jjakji has everything in place to defend against this.
The High Templar count, Nate, is actually surprisingly low right now. For a maxed out Protoss, to only sit on 5 High Templars, that's questionable.
Yeah. jjakji's getting rid of his SCVs. I mean, now that he has extra command centers, and I really like this, using a nuke to clear out the photon cannons.
Yep. It's a great play.
That's really smart.
Soda's going to try to do something about it, but...
that army is slowly getting in range of that nuke. You do not want to take damage from that. jjakji actually took some damage from his own nuke. A little unnecessary.
Yeah, a couple of
Some of those Marauders were like, we're a little too close. We could see the flash, man. That's a danger zone.
Duck and cover, Nate. That's what you used to teach you in the old days.
I'm not sure it would actually help, but I guess it's sound advice.
130 army supply now for Sun against the 141 of jjakji.
14 SCVs lost. Don't be deceived, guys. It just means the Terran army is even stronger because those extra command centers allow him to get income without having workers.
What's in that matter of fact? Just a bunch of Marauders. I do really like the fact that Sun added in a few more High Templars. He's back to 9 now, and I think that's a much healthier number. Because 5 High Templars for a maxed out Protoss, that's really not what you want to work with in general.
Yeah, lots of scans. Wants to keep track of that army. Another nuke's going to be called down. He's doing it from the left side, so he wants to pull the army down the ramp if possible.
This is also an area where Colossus can be a little bit derpy.
He could actually hit some of the probes here too.
He will get actually more than a handful of these probes.
Good use of nukes. Another one being called down, and this is suddenly turning very nice for jjakji. Running up that ramp though, some good storms are holding him back. Does need to be careful. He's trying to bait him into a fight, but he picks up the Nexus on the top right side. Another nuke is about to hit that Nexus in the center.
It's a very good start, but still, take a look at the bank of Sun. Still 6,000 minerals, 2,500 gas. Sun is definitely not a poor Protoss, especially because he hasn't really been trying to be very aggressive throughout this game. He has a few pylons, but other than a single Dark Templar or a single Zealot, he's definitely not going ham on the offensive warpins.
Yeah, that's a really good point. With the bank that Sun has, I mean, jjakji's done a lot of work, but if he loses one fight decisively, it's game over. And it's nothing to do with the way that these armies are set up. It's just that he doesn't have a bank because he's spending all his energy on scans.
Okay, a couple of free Colossus here perhaps for jjakji. Now gets a volley up, but doesn't actually kill a Colossus. Good armor upgrades, +3 armor. Does help.
Yeah, I mean, I like that
those rocks are so tricky, by the way.
Yeah, I like that he's getting building armor. jjakji will have a little bit more sturdy hold on this planetary fortress.
Still has a couple of nukes available as well, if he would decide that he wants to drop a few more. It is very difficult for a Terran to attack into that fort base of a Protoss. jjakji definitely tried to find an opening, but Sun is making it very hard with defensive High Templars and cannons on the high ground. jjakji is going to try to perhaps land another one of those nukes. Just killing 15 probes, that's always nice.
He's coming up this ramp, nice EMP, hits a good amount of the forces. He's like, back off, don't want to lose those Vikings. I like that he has SCVs stuck with this army to repair it.
I really like that too, and I really like these volleys that he's getting off in these Colossus. Because by the time that they will finally have their big engagement, a lot of these Colossus are actually not full on HP. Not just because that they took shield damage, but actually took some real HP damage as well. And that's going to make it a little bit easier for some of these Vikings to pick off a few of those bad boys.
Yeah, kind of like this. I mean, jjakji's getting his army in a good spot. He has 2 nukes ready that he could launch at any time from those ghosts.
These Zealots must be lost, Nate. They're on the other side of the map. You sure about this one, Sal?
Well, I mean, you want to pull the Terran attention apart, right? You don't quite have those warpins if you have any free supply available, so jjakji will have to run some units home if he actually gets into his base. Trying to hold on to this planetary.
Very important that the missile turret finishes up, otherwise it becomes more tricky. Of course, he could always throw it on a scan, but it's still frustrating. Now there are zealots in the natural and in the fort at the same time, and that's not comfortable as a Terran, because things can spiral out of control very, very quickly. At first you lose a few SCVs, and suddenly you only have 15 left, and that's like, well, maybe I need a few more than just that.
Yeah, I'm liking this though. He throws on a nuke into the natural area. He just wants to continue to mess with San. And he's gonna get some.
That's a Dark Templar.
Dude, nukes are really cheap. You kill a DT, it's already cost effective, man. Not bad at all. Getting a few probes on top of that. Yeah. These Archons trying to pressure as well. But the barracks provide a good sim city to prevent those melee units from getting on top of the Marines. And
it may be cost
warp in a Zealot
effective,
DT.
but it's not very cost efficient when you only have 200 minerals in the bank and your opponent has 6,000.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, San's got money to throw away for days, huh?
He's gonna cloak his ghost once more, drops a couple of EMPs, but there are plenty of observers with this army, and Sun realized that he doesn't really have to push the issue over here.
Nah.
He is extremely rich.
Dude, he's just slowly swallowing up the map, and Jakji's like, yeah, he's making plays here and there, but he's getting broken. He actually had to rebuild some supply depots, not something that you want to do.
I wonder how many gateways he's on right now. He's only on 14 gateways. I feel if you're this rich, you should get a few more.
Yeah, just have all the production at this point.
He has double
the
robo.
Archon harass at the planetary.
He has 2 robotics facilities, which of course is the right choice, but only 14 gateways. I think he could add a few more. This is a phase in the game where some Protoss players like to add a few Stargates and start building Tempest. I'm personally not a huge fan, but I do know if it's in the right hands, it can be very powerful. I just don't have the control for it.
Jakji calls another nuke over to the natural, and yeah, he's gonna kill a couple more probes. I don't think that Templars shouldn't be in range. Get the cannon too, though. Not bad.
It's something, but I'm really worried about the income of Jakji.
Because those nukes are also going to keep his bank from ever really climbing up, too.
And even these storms on all these Vikings, Nate, are actually hurting Jakji's economy, because
he has to repair them. It's a lot of damage you can deal with how much they stack up, and that splash is powerful. Oh, boy. Well, I mean, securing the left side base is nice. At some point or another, like, how do you force a fight in this? Oh, that ghost is like, no energy left.
Neither player truly wants to commit to a fight, because if you run into your opponent, it becomes extremely difficult. This might actually be a relatively successful drop. He needs to throw down a scan, though, because this one Dark Templar is doing some work.
The bravest.
Oh, look at all these ghosts
He's not even
behind
cloaked.
enemy
That ghost
lines.
isn't cloaked. It's like, I got this.
Okay.
There's a lot of full energy Templar there, too.
Yeah, would have actually...
Some Zealots or DTs got into the natural of a Jokchi again as well. It's really... That one ghost, man. You got a secret agent badass over there. It's like, yeah, my cloaking device ran out. I can still actually kill everything over here. He's still running around.
With 18 ghosts and 21 Vikings, it's definitely possible for Jakji just to completely wipe the floor with Sun's army in one fight. And then it almost doesn't matter how rich you are as a Protoss player, because you can only build 2 Colossus at a time, and you can only warp in 14 gateway units. And there is a chance that he loses the fight even harder than that. But of course, for Sun, you know, Sun only has one mission right now, and that's just not take the fight that Jakji wants to take.
This ghost has actually, he's run through, he has seen everything there is to see in San's base. And he's got a buddy somewhere else, too. He's double nuking it.
He needs to cloak it up soon, though.
Yeah. Well, the hero ghost looks like it'll finally die.
25 kills. Oh! Ooh, I didn't even see that second nuke.
Yeah. Well, like I said, though, it is keeping his bank from rising, so he still cannot afford to take an actual fight because, I mean, you know, nukes are cool, but
I kind of feel that this is the phase in the game where Jakji will never be able to lose a fight and still come back into this game. Like, by the time that they fight...
I just noticed San has 11 observers, too.
Yeah,
these nukes, they're really getting to him.
Against the 18 or 20 ghosts, I really don't mind it. 18 ghosts we're currently sitting at. But if I was Jakji, like, I would not even start dropping anymore. Like, I think this is extremely risky.
No, that's...
If he loses these 4 medevacs, he can't replace them.
Yeah, I just keep looking at the banks. I'm like, there's no way to do this cost effectively. The defensive nukes are cool.
Just quit. I would abandon that nuke.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this drop, maybe it works alright, and then of course we look silly, but if I was Jakji, I would just max out on the strongest army I could possibly get, you know, based off a lot of ghosts and a lot of Vikings, and then just try to completely demolish Sun in a fight where it just rains down EMPs like, I don't know, like it's raining badly, Nate.
Alright, so he does get a drop inside the main base of San. He scans immediately to look for any potential DT warp-ins defensively. And he's going to pick off some stuff, not really getting at the tech yet, though. So it's not, you know, he's going to trade away a lot of those expensive units that are not that easy to replace. Oh, nice. Okay. Well, he lost a lot of ghosts there, it looks like, too, though.
Yep, the ghost count went from 18 to 9.
Ugh.
Ooh. That is very expensive. Those are not trades that jjakji is able to make. He
And
cannot
now
trade.
the DTs are actually wrecking this drop. San has played so beautifully.
And look at jjakji's supply now. Like now he's down 45 supply and he has no more gas in the bank. That was really not a smart decision to send out all these medevacts.
Yeah.
And of course losing the ghost was not his decision. I love this as well. Stalker's harassing a little bit from the high ground.
San, this is like he's had this lead for so long and he just refuses to let it go.
Yeah. He has a hammerlock on this game, that's for sure. And it could still technically go wrong. One terrible fight where all the Vikings just make short work of the Colossus and then the High Templars can't rain down any storms. Then this Terran army is still very intimidating and very strong. But if jjakji keeps losing units bit by bit, like a few ghosts here, a few Vikings there, then he's never going to get that fight because he will never be maxed out anymore. He is pretty much mined out on most of his bases.
Yeah, another nuke's going to be called down, but the DT Observer combo is too strong for that Ghost.
That is a good combo though. It's a very underrated combo.
But at this point, I don't think there's anything cost-effective enough left in jjakji's arsenal because there's so many observers. There's no way to get your cloaked ghosts in on the action.
Yep, I am very worried. Once more, he picked up a couple of medevacts, but it's so risky in this phase in the game because he just doesn't have that much to work with.
Yeah, and he's like, I've got so much income, I can just throw DTs and Zealots at you all day. As long as you kill something, you're pretty much being cost-effective now because he's choking him out.
I love the way... Oh, yeah, I think he used Control F1 over there, as there were like 7 observers right-clicked on the Colossus. But nice forward blink there, another medevac, and jjakji's supply is just not rising very rapidly. 152 against the maxed-out Protoss with 7,000 minerals and 5,000 gas. Hallelujah, like... This is actually the phase in the game where San can take a terrible fight, but will most likely still survive with reinforcements.
Yep, the Colossi count is so daunting. Like, those Vikings look nice, but you don't even need the storms for the bio anymore. Just keep the Vikings away. These nukes are cool, but it's... I mean, the money isn't really a problem anymore. He needs like 2 nukes on that army.
Look at these Vikings, a lot of them are so low on HP already, most of them are in yellow and orange, and that's just not the way you want to start a fight. Couple of great EMPs though, on top of those Immortals, a few of the High Templars being hit as well.
Great blinks
but
though, great blinks.
Yeah, there's just not enough follow-up army anymore for jjakji to even think about chasing. You don't chase a Protoss that's up 40 supply.
No, well I mean normally Protoss can't just attack into a building armor planetary fortress when the Terran army is right there, but when you're San, the world becomes a beautiful place.
It's a rough economic time, so instead of dropping nukes, ghosts, you're just gonna have to shoot them down one by one. It's a challenge, but...
At this point, I'm surprised he can afford ammunition for those Ghosts' weapons.
Left a few Marauders there behind, I kinda like that to stop the run-bys from happening, but this is just a terrifying Protoss army, and it's not going to stop, it will just get worse from here. Vikings getting a couple of okay shots off, but he's doing a good job in softening up a lot of those Colossus.
I mean, it's not like jjakji's control is terrible, it's just the circumstances of this game don't give him a lot of leeway for mistakes. You can't trade. Normally it's like, okay, Terran army's cost effective, your units rebuild faster, but if you don't have a bank, how can you do that?
His army supply is still bigger by 5, and he still has room to increase it with 26 more. So if he would technically be able to max out, like, this is great for these Vikings. Look at that, getting a couple of beautiful shots off.
Yeah, great position. The storms not being able to hit them really gives them a lot more leeway. And this drop at the top right, it's like...
Actually found an opening.
Yeah, he's doing some economic damage, but his opponent still has an 8k, 5k bank. You still need to kill this army, no matter what. You don't win this game without killing this army.
No, exactly.
Let's try to force a draw somehow, which I just don't believe. I don't believe it.
I don't believe in the draw
With
either.
8k minerals, I don't believe that's possible.
He's like a drop like that. It looks like it's an efficient drop, and then he found an opening, and yeah, he killed a bunch of probes and stuff. But it doesn't hurt San at all. But it really does hurt jjakji because jjakji can't replace those units, at least not in the immediate future.
Every time he kills probes, he just made 4 probes after losing 14 and then warped in more units. So now his army is even bigger.
And it's going to be harder and harder for jjakji to win a fight in a truly decisive manner. And not a good storm there, even though it just chips at a couple of these Vikings. That's a lot of real damage, and that's very frustrating for jjakji because he has to repair all those units again.
Yeah, and the Stalkers just picking up unit after unit. It's so crazy. When you're, I mean, it's got to feel great as a Protoss like this.
No, this is so fun, Nate.
It's impossible to not be cost effective now.
Yep, this is the most fun that the Protoss player will ever have.
San's just like enjoying it now.
It's like the best thing is ever to win a game without having to fight Ghosts and Vikings, just picking them apart slowly but steady. That is what the Protoss dreams are made of, Nate. We know your Terran dreams, but It's a good nuke.
It's still cool to watch him, though.
No, it's great. We saw a ridiculous amount of nukes in this game, and some of them have been relatively successful. It's
Like
just
that was, in a normal game, that's a great nuke, but
Yes.
he's still broke.
you could EMP. No, he doesn't have energy to EMP.
That ghost, he's got a mission. Is he gonna go for it?
Like if jjakji maxes out, I believe, but he's actually starting to have a small gas problem as well, Nate. I'm not sure how much gas there's left. Okay, these two refineries in the middle actually have plenty of gas left. And he has a lot of gas left on the left side of the map as well, so there is still money, there are still resources for jjakji to
The
max
amount
out.
of bunkers, he's like, I need 2 bunkers, 2 turrets to hold on to this base.
Why is Sun getting a new Twilight console? Oh, he must have
I
lost it.
think, yeah. What does he need it for? Is a better question.
Plus 3 shields?
Okay. It's like, well, I gotta spend my money on something.
Yeah. It's like, I may as well, right? I have
Guess.
the money.
These nukes are pretty fun, though.
These
No,
nukes are
they-
great. And it's very frustrating for a Protoss to play against nukes. A couple of snipes going down. How many Templars do we have on the map now? 9. A lot of them are, of course, in
It's
very
gonna kill another whole
defensive
probe
position.
line. Oh,
Yeah, another 15.
it's awesome.
He has killed 76 probes throughout this game. Normally, that's mind-blowingly amazing.
But in this instance,
Only 4 ghosts remaining now as well. Again, jjakji ending up losing a bunch of ghosts. He must have lost over 20 ghosts in this game, and those are not the ghosts that got sent out to drop nukes. Those were ghosts in the middle of the maps, close to armies. I love this one Immortal just going ham on the high ground. Why not?
he's like, well, let's try out new harassing compositions.
Yeah. An Archon, a Stalker, and Immortal. Go!
Put the Archon in hold position and just watch.
Now we wait, and then in the end, you look at each other and you're like, well, not bad. Not half that bad. Got
The
another-
Templar, 3 Stalker hit squad.
Like, Sun is just having the time of his life now. His army too is growing to ridiculous proportions, as he only has 48 probes remaining, so he potentially could go for a 152 army supply Protoss.
I still gotta say, I guess I'm impressed that jjakji hasn't died yet. Like this, he's really managed to.
Okay, and the ghost count is back
drag
to
this one
11,
out.
by the way. It was back to 6, so I kind of like the 11 ghosts.
Yeah.
Like, jjakji right now should just really sit back and try to max out.
Yeah, I mean that feels like it's his best chance at this point. He's barely ahead in resources lost. So, in like a weird world, does he say the only way for him to win this game is to just mine it out completely and win one fight? Like, I don't know.
That's actually an interesting tactic that I didn't think of yet, that he just never decides to attack. Eventually, I guess you say the time is ticking for Sun. Sun still has...
I mean, San's bank can only continue to grow so quickly, right?
Yeah.
If he continues to chip away at it.
a couple of Vikings getting a couple of reasonable trades up over here on these Colossus. A few Colossus did die. And
Not
not too
bad.
many Vikings went down at all. And I believe the majority of the Ghosts got saved over here as well. Like, those are okay-ish trades. Those are trades that, you know, yeah, you can make. Because, like you said, this is a 45-minute game. And there are only so many resources available on Sun's side of the map. But Sun, I think, if he truly wants, on any given moment, he should be able to kill this base on the left bottom side of the map.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great storm.
Ooh, all those Vikings so close to dying now.
Yeah, I don't think
And
that...
jjakji doesn't even have the money to repair all of them.
Yep, now we truly start trading, and I don't think that jjakji can keep up with these
Nah.
kind of trades. He just can't reproduce all these
All
Vikings that
those
he's
Vikings.
losing. Feedback's landing
That
on the Ghost
storm.
as well. Yeah, that was painful for jjakji.
That was rough. There's so little economy
Yeah.
left.
I think that Sun just realized the exact same thing as you realized. Like, hey, is he just like trying to make me mine out my side of the map and make me use all my resources? No, I'm not gonna let that happen. Time to step it up a notch. And immediately he's forcing out bigger trades. And even if he doesn't get the most cost-efficient trades right now, you know, it's effective in a way for him.
I was gonna say that's like, there's the only way I imagine him losing is if he just sent in DTs forever until he spent his whole bank and realized he didn't have anything left.
Don't do that. Nah, he's really putting on the pressure now, making sure that it's going to be harder and harder and harder for jjakji to max out. jjakji is on 130 supply. Army supply, we're currently looking at 150 against 115, so that's not in the favor of jjakji anymore either. This is an intimidating Protoss army. There are high Templars everywhere. Where are the observers though? Okay, the observers are joining in the fun, but
Yeah. The cannon is there too, so
I forgot. I didn't see it.
cannons everywhere. jjakji's like, I will fight for this one base and drop nukes and you'll never push me.
That entire army walks into the nuke, Nate.
These-
I still think Sun is going to win. Sun has played a very beautiful game, This was by far and away the longest game of the series, but it kind of felt like Solid has been in control. A couple of the ghosts in the front line right now, losing these ghosts.
Those storms. Those are the ones that should be able to push him over the top. Down to 80 supply is jjakji, and San continues to parade forward with more and more storms, warping in Zealots and DTs in his base with that Warp Prism. And that's got to be it. The Stalkers are going to go on cleanup duty. GG!